Please join me in welcoming Bruno with his talk, Small Voice, Big Impact.
Hello everyone, my name is Bruno Marquez and today I'm going to talk about something very important. Something we all use and something we all have. My voice and my words. From the moment we wake up until we go to sleep, we use our voice to communicate with others. We talk to our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our friends and our teachers. We ask questions at class, we answer questions at class, we send messages, and sometimes we even talk to ourselves inside our head. But even though we use words all the time, we don't always think about how powerful they really are. Because words are not just sounds, are not just letters. Words have power. Words can make someone feel happy. Words can make someone feel sad. Words can make someone feel brave, and also words can make someone feel afraid. One word can change someone's day. One sentence can stay in someone's heart for a very long time. And one voice can change many lives. We have all felt this before. Maybe somebody once told you, you can do this, when you were feeling nervous or scared. And suddenly, you felt stronger. But maybe somebody also told you something that hurt you, something small, maybe even without thinking, but you remember it. That is why my voice matters. My voice matters because it shows how I treat others and my values. If I speak with respect, I show respect. If I speak with kindness, I show kindness. If I speak with empathy, I show that I care. But my words, no. But if I speak with anger, mockery, or disrespect, that also says something about me. Words cannot be erased. Once they're spoken, they exist. We can say sorry, and that is important, but the words were already heard. That is why choosing carefully my words is a responsibility. A responsibility to myself, because it shows how am I. A responsibility to others, because I don't know what they're going through. And a responsibility to the moment, because timing matters. But my voice is not only important when I speak to others, it is also important when I speak to myself. If I tell myself I can do this, I start to believe it. If I tell myself I'm not good enough, I feel smaller. But if I tell myself I can try or I can learn, I feel stronger. Now, I want to talk about some real examples. Iqbal Masih was only a child when he got sold by his own father so he could afford his oldest son's wedding. He got slaved by many years, and when he got free, he used his entire life to free other people. Even though he was murdered at 12, his legacy is something that we should remember. Another example is Ruby Bridge. Ruby Bridge was only 6 years old when she stood up against racial injustice. She was the first black child to attend to an all-white school in the United States of America. When she entered to that school alone, people shouted at her. She got scared, but she did not shout out. She stood up against everyone, and she showed courage just by showing up. Ruby showed us that one child's voice can change an entire community as the mind. Another example comes from a movie called How to Train Your Dragon. Hiccup is a boy who lives in a village where dragons are murdered by people, and they think that it's normal to fight them. But Hiccup thinks different. Instead of following the crowd, he follows his heart, and because of him, he changes the whole village mind. And the most powerful example is closer than we think. Imagine a classroom. Someone is being treated unfairly. He's being laughed at and left out. But then a boy stands up and start saying, "Please stop, we should be kind. Let's be his friend, or let him play with us." And that boy can change the whole classroom's mind. Today, I want to remember that my voice matters, not because it's loud, not because it's perfect, but because it's mine. That is why I choose to use my voice with respect, kindness, and courage. Because with my voice, I can be part of the problem or part of the solution. I can be a wall or I can be a bridge. That is why I choose to choose carefully my words. Because my voice matters and your voice matters too. Thank you.